when we rely on dogma, it inherently creates less critical thinking because we become sort of like the dogma has the answers. And then if the dogma doesn't, which is what I felt like, to go back to my example, I know for sure that the person who I had the relationship with, who is a teacher and a guide, who's very gifted, by the way, was doing the best she could. And also that she genuinely believed that she was helping me. And that's based on what she'd been taught by her teachers. And the lineage goes really far back in this case. And just because the lineage goes far back, that doesn't mean that it's correct. It also doesn't mean that it's not culty. It doesn't mean that it's got some greater authority, because it really, actually, when you're dealing with systemic oppression, that's actually kind of alarming that it goes back that far. Like, I mean, if you
Wow.
really think about it, you're like, well, if the foundation of like the world was a different place when, it's like, but it's transrational, whatever, that's the thing. But like that when she was trying to help me, she was using the tools that she had at her disposal. And I kept stepping outside of that. What about
Yes.
this? Just like you did with this person. Like, well, what if I don't believe that I caused my depression? Well, you kind of have to fall in within the bounds of the dogma, or I don't know what to do with you. Because this is where the cognitive dissonance plays such a huge part. If you force me to step outside of my dogma, then I might have to change what I believe. And talk about alarms going off. Like, the alarms are going off big time for the folks who are really attached to the dogma. They're like, no, critical thinking must be bad. That must be it. That must be what it is. Oh, wait, I would never say it that way. And this person would never say it that way either. Yet the teachings say that. They totally say that, just in really flowery, different kinds of language. Critical thinking, problem, transcend the ego, the mind, the get out of your head, like, all of it. So I feel like in this instance, the example that you gave, it's just the same thing operating in a different way. Like, I have this
Wow.
process, it's well defined. I feel like I've supported it with my own sort of science, and you just challenged one of the core premises. And I would have to dismantle the whole thing if I actually had this conversation with you. So you're out.
Yes.